Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. This is Mike Bundy with Geek Tavern. It's been a while, but I've accumulated a new group of people. I have Shawn, and I have Aaron, and we're here to talk about whatever we damn well please.
Yep, sounds good to me.
That's Shawn.
And I'm Aaron.
And that's Aaron. So, yeah. Anyway, today we're gonna talk about, one of our favorite things, Star Wars. So let's just start off. We want to talk about Jedi Fallen Order. And this will be good for any return listeners because it is a video game. Mm-hmm. And that's what this channel primarily was. But there'll be some changes on that. We don't need to talk about that. Who cares? Jedi Fallen Order. What do you guys think?
Well, I'm only like halfway through the game right now, but I really like it so far.
Prepare to have it spoiled.
Yeah, we kind of, before the episode started, we kind of spoiled some stuff for Shawn already, but fantastic game. I really like the story overall. The characters were very well done. I think it's always a weird thing to like put these stories in and try to fit them in between like the movies and stuff. Like it's either hit or miss,
Yeah, throwing things into, well, I mean, with the Disney changes and everything, you can't really, the extended, canon and everything, it's always changing. But throwing like how Cal is a runaway Jedi and everything, it's kind of like, It's just like, it's changing the original movies a little bit, but at the same time, it's just kind of like, whatever.
Yeah, that's essentially what I was meaning. It's, everybody's supposed to be killed in the Order 66, but then we kind of retcon that a little bit and throw in a new character that supposedly got away. But I think they did a phenomenal job at making you believe that.
Well, and even then, it's not unheard of because you have Kanan Jarrus, who survived the Purge. Ahsoka Tano survived the Purge. I mean, like, to me at least, it doesn't seem like weird that they have a new canon character who survived, because I'm like, because they do that all the time.
Yeah, well, I just mean anytime they do it, it's kind of weird.
That's how it always is. It's like, at least with the former extended universe, it's like these runaway rogue surviving Jedi. That's like the main plot of a lot of these stories. So it's like, they killed everybody in Order 66, but except all of these people,
these guys.
Except everyone that managed to escape.
Except the ones who could deflect a blaster bolt because they sensed it coming.
Yeah. So one of my favorite, Shawn, you might not even be here in the gameplay, but sorry. There's this awesome sequence where it's a flashback and you actually get to go through the Order 66.
Oh yeah, he's not that far.
Yeah,
yet.
I didn't. I'm not the second time that you revisit Kashyyyk and you're fighting all of those terrible monsters on it.
You're actually almost there, because doesn't that happen at Origin Tree? Isn't that where he has the flashback? Yeah, you're almost there.
Yep, just about there. Honestly, that's probably my favorite part of
It's a great part, because you're basically, you don't have to do anything. You're just along for the ride.
Yeah. Witnessing
Order 66 happen and watching Jaro Tapal fight off a horde of clone troopers and set the self-destruct sequence off on the Venator.
Yeah, the crazy part about it for me was before you're summoned as a young Padawan to go train with, I can't remember his name, whatever you said.
Jaro Tapal.
Yeah, and you're summoned to him, so you're like walking down the hallway and you see one of the stormtroopers and it's like a friendly, he's like, hey, how's it going today or whatever. And I think he gives you like a high five or whatever.
Yeah.
So immediately it was like, oh, cool. Get to talk to these stormtroopers. And then, boom. Order 66, and now they're killing me.
I knew, because just before you reach that point where you have to go through, it's in that flashback but you have to do like all the stuff. You have to wall run and jump.
That's
and
where you learn wall
climb.
run.
And he says, reach my position, and you have to go up into the thing. And I was like, oh, this is where Order 66 happens. I was like, I'm not going to enjoy watching Jaro Tapal get killed.
Yeah. So, was there any bad parts of the game that you experienced?
There wasn't any bad parts, in my opinion. There was a couple side stories that kind of took me a little off guard. Like, I wish that there had been a little bit more to them. Oh, that's another thing. Jedis who survived the Purge. Terran Malicos. Terran Malicos has been on Dathomir since, like, before Order 66.
Yeah.
And, but that's one that kind of, like, threw me a little bit, because I was like, the only reason I went to Dathomir was to get the double-bladed lightsaber attachment, but also to confront Terran Malicos and the Night Sister. And then after you kill Terran Malicos, the Night Sister's like, I want to come with you.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay. And then she just comes with you. Like, I wouldn't say it's a bad part. It just doesn't feel as cohesive as the rest of the story.
Yeah. See, I like the Night Sister. Or
I do too.
Is that
The Secret Sister?
or Secret or
Whatever.
whatever the one that comes with you?
Night Sister Mary.
Night Sister.
Yeah.
Brother Sister.
I don't know. Too many characters. I can't keep them straight.
They're all
but...
named Sister. Second Sister.
Well,
Ninth
isn't that
sister.
like some of the
That's
the
what
bad
Oh,
guys
that's
you
right.
The
fight?
main villain's the Second
That's right,
Sister.
the
and
Second
then-
Sister.
Yeah, that's why I
Second
got
sister,
trumped
Ninth
up on
sister,
that.
Night Sister. There's the Ninth Sister and the Night Sister. One looks better than the other.
Anyway, the one that comes with you, I really enjoyed her as a character.
Yeah, me too. And it may just be because she's spooky goth GF.
Yeah. But anyway,
I didn't like how Cal has to relearn all the Force things through, like, I mean, it's cool that
It's a
he's like doing
game
his
trope.
visions and things, but it's like, you're a Jedi, and I get that you've been a scrapper for however long you've been a scrapper for, but you should remember how the Force works. You should be able to use Force push and pull and everything.
it's not like 40 years ago.
Yeah.
It's like 10 years ago.
Yeah, you should remember, like, that was one thing that was just kind of like, I mean, you have all this stuff at your disposal, and you just, I think, willfully forgot all this shit.
Yeah, you can't wall jump until you relearn it.
Yeah, yeah.
Which I thought
I'm
those were
having
neat.
I'm having
They
a
are.
World War II flashback. I'm having an Order 66 flashback of Jaw to Paul and how I learned to become a Jedi.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he shut it all out, kind of like Luke did. But I mean, it's not like Luke had to go back through and
Yeah, Luke's.
No, Luke walked up to the rock and put his hand down. And he's like, all right, here we are. Like, it's like, I'm good.
one of the best things that this game has done that not really any previous Star Wars game has done is the customization of the lightsaber. I mean, I couldn't stop myself every time there was
Except
a table.
for Force Unleashed.
I mean, you could change color, but you couldn't change the hilt.
No.
But I always, every time I see a table, I'd have to change it. Like,
I think that it's kind of lame that you don't, like, you get all these collectibles in the boxes, but I have yet to find a new color for the lightsaber. I don't know if that's something integral to the story, but it's like, okay, that's like what I want to change the most is the color.
What, the color of the lightsaber?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you can.
You can.
Spoilers,
later.
when the lightsaber gets destroyed on Dathomir by Terran Malicos,
Oh.
you have to go to Ilum and get a crystal, which you can change to any color you want. But it's that color permanently after that point.
Oh.
Isn't it?
No, I changed it all the time after
because I never set it back down on the bench. I just stuck with yellow
that. Yeah.
on both ends, and I just did that.
Yeah, no, you can totally go back to one of the tables or whatever you call them.
Okay,
the benches.
because
Yeah,
from
your
that
crafting
point
bench.
on, after I got the crystal,
Your
and I
Minecraft bench.
well, after I got the crystal and I was like already through that, and I realized that cutscene was like past the midpoint, and I was like, okay, I'm going into a boss battle after this because I fixed the lightsaber. And I was like, do I really need to like mess with this anymore? And I was like, nope. I was like, let's just go. And then I just ran off to Bogano and then came back, and I was like, well, this is it. Like, this is all I'm doing.
I have my saber all golded out. Like, it was copper before, but now it looks gold. It's like an entirely gold inladen
gold.
saber.
Gold is well, I don't know if it's just gold, but one of my favorite little Easter eggs, I guess you could call it, is you can make it out of the metal that Rose had of the necklace.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Haitian smelt.
Yeah, you can unlock that and use that as one of the Kellers, I guess you should say. But I always use that one because
you can get electrum plating too.
Yeah.
I need my Beskar plating.
No,
I don't think that's one.
With the
No,
new
they don't have that.
The new Mandalorian type in his Beskar.
I was actually waiting for that one to pop up, but it never did.
No, but they did have, was it Morband Steel or something like that?
Yeah.
It was one of the ones that you could actually use. There was a lot of, like, and that's one thing. I finished the game and it said I had 83% complete, and I was like, God damn, there is a lot that I left,
it's
like, it
all those
didn't go
collectibles.
find.
It has to be all those collectibles.
That's basically been the last, I don't know, 5 hours of my gameplay. It's been going to each world and finding everything.
Well, about a quarter of the way through me playing it, I would go back to planets and be like, yeah, I'm not doing the mission right now. Like, I'm going to go find all this other stuff. Or trying to collect, like, a life essence on each planet.
Yeah, I missed a bunch of those. Couple hard ones that I had to find.
I've got so many stims now, though.
Yeah.
I've got like 6 stims. Like
it goes up to 10.
10 of them.
And I was like,
what?
Yeah.
10 stems?
Yeah. I was like, why do you need that many? I guess if you're playing on the hardest mode, maybe. But
the 2 extras that I found, because something happens in the story that you get an extra stem.
Yeah.
But also, you find the 2 on Bogano, and I was like, oh, 6, okay.
I think there's basically 2 on each planet that you
Wow.
venture to.
I found 1 on Zepho. I might have found 2, but I remember for sure that I found 1 of them there. I know that I have 6 right now.
Yeah.
So
Dathomir, I think, is one of the best to go to because you unlock so many different skills on that skill tree there.
Yeah.
And then if you purchase the skills, like Marin, after I got the it wasn't lightsaber throw because I didn't have enough points for that yet, but it's the one where you hit Y and you throw your double-bladed saber around you, and
That's
then
a
it
good
comes
one.
back.
Yeah.
When she summoned all the undead Night Sisters, I just hit that repeatedly and just killed them, as I went through the crowd. By the way, that part's scary because you have to outrun them while trying to get to the Mantis to leave Dathomir.
Oh, yeah.
On one of those times, because you go there and Marin's like, get the fuck off my planet, and you're like, no, I want to help you, and she's like, no, and like summons all the undead Night Sisters, and then you have to just sprint to the Mantis.
Yeah, she was actually pretty good villain, there for a while, but obviously that turns around.
I knew that she was going because I spoiled it for myself at the ending, but I knew she was gonna show up with us, and I was like, she's gonna come around. I was like, she's just being a angsty goth girl right now.
And I'm not sure if she has like a crush on Cal or if that's just her awkwardness from being,
from being alone.
Being alone for however long.
From Yoda-ing herself.
Well, and that's the other thing too. Like, the Jedi killed all the Night Sisters, and that's why she has like the big vendetta against Cal. But then Terran is the only other one there except for the Night Brothers. So I feel like
why didn't they face off?
Yeah, like and then she did, because at the end when you fight Terran, you're about to lose, and then Marin steps in and like starts using the magic on him, and he goes, "What are you doing?" And she's like you said, Dathomir will be your grave, and she just like sucks him down into the dirt and closes it over him, and I was like.
Is that like the hermit guy that you see
the guy in the
time?
robe? Yeah, he disrobes when you're fighting him, and he has 2 lightsabers hooked onto his belt that are red.
That's pretty.
He's
pretty
a really
cool.
good like fighter.
Yeah, I found myself not really using the double-sided lightsaber very much.
That was my favorite.
I've pretty much exclusively used it. I went to Dathomir first and got it, and then I've just been using it ever since I got it.
I find that using the normal lightsaber, like it's more fast and fluid, which makes sense. That's how it's supposed to be set up, but I find that funner. I don't know.
One of my favorite attacks is it's a split attack.
Oh,
So
yeah.
when you do like attack from the left and attack from the right, and then you come down, but you take your saber apart and strike down on them.
Yeah.
It's a sick attack.
Yeah, there's definitely some very cool combos on both sides, but
that's like my go-to move. But one of my best, and I was telling Shawn that after you get like Howling Force Push, which is like your top force push, I just loved pushing like purge troopers off the cliff, because after fighting them like 1 or 2 times, I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing this the entire game. So I just like force push them off a cliff. Or once you get the howling one, you can push like I think 5 off of something. So like I just push like a whole battalion off the cliff, and I'm like, all right, I'm good, and just move on.
Do you get less experience by doing that?
No, actually, you get more skill points by using like those powers in creative ways to like take out your enemy.
I think I still actually need like one more thing on the skill tree. I don't think I even have it all unlocked.
I unlocked it all. I think there was maybe 2 things left that I didn't get, and by that time, if it was the 2 things I didn't have, I noticed every fight was just so easy.
Yeah.
Like, I just walked through and just murdered, like, hundreds of stormtroopers. And I'm like, wow, this isn't even, like, fun.
Yeah,
I'm just hitting the button and they're dying.
I never put the difficulty back up. I just played through on story mode.
So did I.
But it did get very easy. I mean, it got to the point where you just rush in, just take damage from bullets, and then just mow them down with the lightsaber.
I wonder if you went and fought Ogdo Bogdo at max power, like how easy he would be to kill.
You skip over Ogdo Bogdo until you fully upgrade, and then you're like, we meet again.
You come
and then
back.
just like slam on him once.
I actually would love to. I would love if there was a secret part to that game where you max out your powers and come back to Pagano, and then it goes into a cutscene. And you're standing there and you ignite one side, and Ogdo Bogdo just like scrapes at the dirt, and then you ignite the other side of your lightsaber and charge at him.
Yeah.
Is that the big one?
It's a big frog
The big
thing.
black and orange
Like
one.
sitting outside the temple thingy?
No, he's
No?
He's underneath.
Yeah,
the one
you can, like,
underground.
drop on
yeah,
him.
Okay.
just before you get to the Mantis, that one level,
Yeah.
and then you drop in through the 3 things. He's the big black and
Okay.
orange one down there.
Okay, I couldn't remember
He's
if
a
it
son
was...
of a bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He killed me a couple times at the beginning of the game.
Yeah, he killed Shawn a few times.
Yeah,
I was playing on Jedi Knight mode, and I had to turn it to story mode to beat Ogdo Bogdo.
Well, see, yeah, when I first started the game, the one right above story,
Jedi Knight.
yeah, that's what I was on, but I ran into him and
Yeah, he's a resilience crusher. he's the real test of the game. He's like, I wonder what will break first, your spirit or your body.
No, Ogdo Bogdo might actually just be the secret difficult boss, because I can tell you, I fought the giant bat, I fought the 9th sister, I fought the 2nd sister and Terran Malicos, and I have never had more difficulty than Ogdo Bogdo. Like, they are cake compared to Ogdo Bogdo.
the bat was
scary as hell.
it was yeah, but I found it very easy though.
It was, as long as you dodge.
Yeah.
So, Shawn, the bat I was telling you about, you start climbing up a wall of vines, and I knew that bat was coming because
Yeah.
I saw it, like, flying around, and he goes, what is that?
Yeah.
And when I was in that cave, I was like, yeah, this is bad. So I'm climbing up the wall, and then I turn, and the camera turns into a cinematic, and there's that bat on the wall, like, looking at you, and you're
Yeah.
like, oh my god.
Yeah, it was
It's like yesterday when I was fighting those 3 spiders,
Oh.
and I went to go get out a crate, and then I turned the camera view, and it was the 3 spiders like
Barreling
Yeah,
towards
that was scary. That was scary.
that happened to me once. I was opening a crate and
I
then
hate those spiders.
I forget what it was that attacked me, but I died immediately. I'm like, I can't do anything.
Those spiders are terrible. The
They're
first
the
time
worst.
seeing, like, when you were playing on Kashyyyk yesterday, and you could hear the battle music, and you went, "Oh, this battle music's still going on." I was like, "Yeah, walk over here." And then you walk, and the spider just jumps down. I was like, "That's why the fight music is still going on, because you didn't spring the trap yet."
Oh my.
That's like, it raises anxiety because you're like, I've killed everything that I see, but there's still battle music going on.
Yeah.
What's happening?
And also, there are some things in that game that you don't see immediately. Like, at that part, after I killed the 3 rocket troopers and killed the spider, I walked over and it's like, I pull up the holomap and it says, go over here. And I'm like, how the hell do I get there? There's a lake here. And I never saw, until I walked back and really looked, that the cable to do the zip line.
Oh.
You don't notice it immediately. You have to actually like look and see. Because I was looking and I was like, is there some way, is there a ladder down here or what? And I saw that there was the cable and I was like, oh, I'm supposed to zip line down.
Yeah. There's a part on, I believe it was on Kashyyyk, and you had to go into this body of water and swim underneath to get like to the other side.
Mm-hmm.
And there was like no indicator that I needed to do that. So I'm like circling around this area. I'm like, where do I go?
And you can't pull your holomap up when you're in the water either.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I tried that the first time because I dove and I was like, where am I supposed to go? And then I click holomap and it's like, you can't pull up the holomap.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, well, I guess I'm swimming around here. Found a bunch of loot boxes and then...
I think when the map was up and you brought it up, like it was just yellow, but it was just a wall other than the water. So like I didn't know that you could at that time swim underneath and dive under. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm bad at games. But
all around I really enjoyed the but let's talk about the ending now,
yeah.
since
we go into that and spoil some more. Well, there isn't really much more to spoil for Shawn.
I did like and also you kind of had to be blind if you didn't already see when Seer told the story about Trilla, her Padawan, that if you couldn't already tell that she was going to be the second sister.
Yeah.
Like, you're just kind of blind. But then when you find out it's her, and then I'm like, oh, well, this is going to be interesting, because this is just going to be an ongoing battle until the very end. And it is, and you fight her for a little bit, and you and Seer fight her, and then you kind of turn her, and then you hear Qui-Gon's funeral music play as the door opens, and from behind her you hear the... And then you see Vader walk up behind her, and you're like, oh no, and then she just goes, avenge us, and then he just slices her and kills her.
Yeah, it's, I can't remember if that was before or after I played Vader Immortal, but...
I kept getting the two games confused, because I played Vader Immortal and then this.
Oh, really?
And I kept like going, wait, does this part happen in this? And then I was like, wait, no, that's a whole other game.
But after playing Vader Immortal, short side note, I'm now terrified of Darth Vader.
He is terrifying!
I was terrified in that moment he walks up to you in Vader Immortal. And I'm a pretty tall guy, but I had to look up at him.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
like, he's like 6'5", maybe,
Yeah.
like with his helmet and everything.
Yeah.
Because when I played it, I was like, oh man, I was like, he's a big dude.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not going to mess with this guy. You can have whatever you want.
Do you
want
think
this
that,
thing?
like, if Yao Ming played Vader Immortals, that he would be taller than Vader? Or
That would be
they
hilarious.
Or if
If,
they
like, he walks
scaled
in-
the game.
I think they scaled the game down, actually. But
I was gonna say, like, do you think he would like walk in and like he keeps seeing through like the map
The game.
because he's like above the boundaries. So like when Vader walks in, he's just like here to Yao Ming and he's like looking down at him.
Oh my.
Um,
So yeah, anyway, I can't remember if that was before or after, but Darth Vader scares the crap out of me now.
He
More
does.
than ever, so.
and like during that cutscene, Seer rushes at Vader and she goes, Cal, run. And she rushes at Vader and Vader, no saber drawn, just nonchalantly goes and just yeets her over the side of the railing and she disappears.
Yeah.
And you're led to believe that there's lava down there because
Yeah.
of whatever volcanic planet you're on. It's not Mustafar, but whatever.
It was on Dathomir.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because it was actually where you first meet I'm terrible with names. the robe guy that you kill earlier on.
Oh, Terran Malika.
Yeah, it's actually straight ahead from there. That's the building you're in for this scene.
Oh, okay.
I forget. I don't know what the temple or whatever it was called, but
it was like the fortress of whatever.
Solitude.
Yeah. So, well, Vader pretty much was Superman.
Yeah.
So, but like, and that fight with him, like, really threw me, because when you're fighting him, you run up and you slice at him and it does absolutely nothing, and then he grabs you and starts force choking you. But it puts you into a scene where, like, you think that the screen should be showing you B, like, to break out of it, and you can't. So you're left to just sit there and either die or button mash until you can actually figure out what to do.
Yeah, it doesn't indicate that you need to button mash, because I think when it was happening, I was like, oh, this is cutscene, so I'm just sitting there.
And then you die.
And I died. I'm like,
well,
what the hell's going on?
That's the end. Cal's dead.
That
End of the
was
game.
just
dead.
Game
That's
over.
it. That's it.
Credits roll.
Yeah.
But, like, that's one thing that I like about that game, because I literally had genuine panic. It's like, he pulls me in, and I'm like, what the hell am I doing? I gotta fight back somehow. And then when you pull the pipe down on him, and then you start running away, but everything's collapsing around you, and if you miss one thing, then you die.
Yeah.
And it's not like it was early in the game either, because the mechanics of it change. If you fall off of the side, you are dead. You respawn again.
It's not like...
You don't just drop back in and start going. You die.
Yeah. And you have to watch that whole cutscene again.
Yeah, so if you didn't... Like... Well, you don't make it to a meditation point at the end, because that it's gone. But the mechanics of the game change to where you just die if you miss something. So, like, if you wall run and you jump and die, comes up and it says respawn. And you're like, are you kidding me?
Especially
Which you can jump off any edge during the game, and it doesn't do that.
No. But once the stakes are higher, then they're like, well, it's changed now.
It seems so problematic, considering, at least in my game, it takes so long to go through the respawning and then go back.
It is a very long process, actually.
Yeah. So I feel like that would just be terrible. Like, if you keep failing and you're, like, sitting there, it's like, I've been here for 30 minutes and I can't get past it.
Yeah,
on a higher difficulty, it would be a very frustrating part, because you have to you have to load and then watch the cutscene again. I don't know if you probably skip it, I guess, but I don't know if you can. But
that cutscene is nuts. And then when you're running away and you run down the hallway and you come up to the door and you open it, Vader is right. Or no, one of the scariest parts is when the camera turns. When you get in the elevator and BD1 goes to start it up, and the camera turns, and in the doorway, Vader's just standing there. And you're like, oh my god! And then you close the door, but his saber comes through the door.
Yeah.
And then the elevator goes, and you're like, oh. And then you start running, and you're hearing from Marin and Grease, and you're trying to get back to the ship, and then you go to open this door, and you click open. It opens and Vader is standing right there, waiting for you. And then Seer comes back, and then BD1 screws up Vader's suit by short-circuiting it, and then you have to swim. And by the way, you have to swim. I laughed hysterically when you bust the window open, and then you drag Seer back up, and you pass out before you swim up. I'm looking at the distance between you and that. You're getting the bends hardcore. Like, you're going to have some serious health issues by the time you get back up there.
Yeah, the hydrogen bubbles in your blood.
Oh, he should have died. They were low enough that the pressure should have probably killed him. Because you're basically just in underground tunnels that lead into or underwater tunnels that lead into like, imagine the amusement park from Jaws 3, but it's hooked to an Imperial fortress. That's the best way to describe it.
Do you get reverse bends if you go into space? All of the gases are removed from your blood instead of getting put into it whenever you have like 2 times pressure of gravity on you.
No, because
not if you're Leia.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was gonna say. Not if you're Leia, because she can survive that shit.
Yeah, she can survive in the vacuum of space for 3 minutes, no problem.
She not only that, she wakes up in a vacuum of space,
fully conscious. Just get me back to the ship.
Oh, where am I? Yeah, that's. I mean, not much else to say on the game.
Did they did they end it to like a cliffhanger for a sequel?
Oh yeah, totally.
Oh, yeah. So you remember the whole point of your whole mission at the beginning of the game was to get the holocron from Bogano,
right?
From the temple. Well, once you get the temple, after you go through and do some ray mirror vision stuff, because that's what happens, and then you see the Zepho and all that, and learn about how the Zepho fell, and then you have a vision of you're teaching the new generation of Jedi using the holocron, and then you get them all killed. So at the end of the vision, you get the holocron, but then Trilla is right there, takes the holocron, and then you have to get it back from her, which she gives it to you in when Vader shows up. And then Vader wants the holocron. But at the end of the game, you're all sitting there, and then it all comes back to Jaro Tapal saying, Cal, trust only in the Force. So he takes the holocron out, and they're like, all right. They're like, what are we going to do? And Cal just goes and opens it, and he just goes and just cuts it in half, and he said, we trust in the Force. Let it guide them. Let's not interfere.
No.
And I was like, okay, I like that. Because first of all, it doesn't retcon anything else that takes place in the Star Wars universe from that moment on. But second, it's the callback to Jaro Tapal, saying just let things happen. Let it happen the way that the Force wills it. So, I mean, that was cool for him to destroy the holocron. And, I mean, it still leaves the door open because he's still alive. So it leaves the door open for them to go on more adventures.
Do you think that they'll ever put Cal, in a movie?
Maybe in a series.
I don't know what the actor's name is, but he's
Cameron,
pretty good.
Cameron.
Yeah. I could imagine them using him in something. Star Wars story. They'll put him in episode 10.
Cal Kestis, a Star
and then
Wars story.
what's his name? What were you telling me? That the one guy was like, oh, Ahsoka and whoever's going to show up from Rebels. And it's that's definitely going to happen.
Yeah.
Oh, Ahsoka and Ezra.
Yeah, Ezra's going to show up in episode 9. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Keep believing that one.
That's what a lot of people were saying.
That sounds like some
happen.
Mike Zero stuff. Confirmed. Confirmed. Ezra Bridger is the Emperor. Oh wow.
Was Ezra the Emperor the entire time? 3 question marks. Red circle on the thumbnail.
Yeah, his thumbnail's him looking very inquisitorly.
Yeah, I mean, great game overall. Definitely going to be a second one.
I'd recommend it, even though I haven't finished playing it yet, but I'd recommend it. I imagine that the quality is going to continue how it has been so far, so I think I'll thoroughly enjoy it the rest of the game.
Did they ever say if there was going to be DLC or anything?
No, and that was actually kind of EA's redeeming factor after Battlefront, is because everyone hated them because they charged for DLC, maps, and everything. And
Loot boxes.
With this, they were just like, you know what? We're giving you this game complete.
Yeah.
Here it is.
That's one thing. It's the best game that is a Star Wars game that's come out in a long time. Because EA just completely ruins everything else.
Yeah, it is one of the best Star Wars games that I've played.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of people say it's the best since Knights of the Old Republic.
Mm.
Which, I mean, I just started playing Knights of the Old Republic, so I can't really...
Yeah, I've never played
I didn't like RPGs whenever it came out, so I was like, this is boring and I don't want to play it, but I like RPGs now, so I should go back and try it out.
I did own it at one time. I'll have to see if I...
It's on the Xbox Marketplace for $5.
Is it? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I do like Battlefront 2. I just want to throw it out there because, I mean,
the new one?
Yeah, they fixed it. There's no microtransactions.
Oh, EA's trying to apologize.
Yeah. I'm not saying that it was perfect when it first came out, but it's I still play it. It's still good. So if you haven't tried it in a while, I would definitely.
I loved the look of Battlefront when it came out. It looked phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, two looks just as good, if not better.
Space battles were awesome. I love doing the space battles.
Definitely still are. A lot of great worlds in that one, and number 2. So the second part of the episode, we want to, just for fun, we want to rank the Star Wars movies. So
yeah, that'd be I don't know. A lot of people have different opinions, especially with the new trilogy.
And we will judge you.
Your opinion is wrong. And you're nitpicking and biased. I win. Bye.
So I'm already ready to get all the flack on this episode because I like bad movies. People are like, that movie's terrible. I'm like, I like that movie. Like, for example, this one always comes up. I like Batman Forever. Everybody hates that movie.
Well, I mean, Jim Carrey as the Riddler was one of the best.
Well, and see, people tear apart Tommy Lee Jones.
He was fine.
I love Tommy Lee Jones. So, I don't know.
I think that Batman and Robin is the one where people really.
I
start to turn it off.
They can't accept that one. If somebody's like, I like Batman and Robin, they're like, well, you have some problems then.
I like parts of that.
Bat hockey.
Come
on.
The Bat credit card.
Bat Discover card. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of problems.
Bat nipples.
Yeah, that's.
Well, Bat nipples started in Batman Forever.
Did they? Okay.
Yeah, because that was when Schumacher took over.
Oh, right. Okay.
But yeah, Batman Forever is like, even though it's not connected to Batman and Batman Returns, you watch that movie and it's like, oh, okay.
It's so weird because is it not connected?
No, because I think it...
Because Alfred's in all 4 of them.
all played by Michael Goff.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. He's the consistent Alfred in those.
So that always weirded me out about that. Anyway, we're not here to talk about Batman at this specific moment. So I assume you guys have your list or
every moment
know it in your head.
Moment.
But who wants to start with their number 11?
I'll let Shawn go first.
Okay.
I mean, I know that a lot.
I feel like we're all gonna have the same for number 11.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Unfortunately, I think we're all gonna have the same, and it's. I have to do some reflecting on myself because I know that a lot of people really like Rogue One, but on like retrospect, I'm like, this really isn't that good. This isn't that good of a movie.
Oh. Ooh.
So
I'm surprised. Wow.
It would have to be like, I'm not sure if it's gonna be Solo or if it would be Rogue One. Probably Solo, just because I don't know. I might like Rogue One's story a little bit better. Except the thing with Rogue One is that the characters, they're inconsequential. They're literally just set pieces to watch, like them get the Death Star plans and everything. It's still a great looking movie and everything, but...
Which, that's one thing I don't agree with as part of the story where Disney execs were like, we never see these characters again. It's like, yeah, but you could. Like, you don't have to kill them.
I don't see why they had to die.
No, because they're not like Jedi who would show up later on.
Yeah.
Like, if you didn't kill those characters, movie still would have played out the same.
Yeah.
You could have just been like, well, they're going their own separate ways.
I think it's just to like emphasize how big of a mission it is, like the sacrifice of life to get the plans to destroy the Death Star, like the ultimate weapon. There's got to be some give and take to that.
Yeah,
and I think one of the reasons why my opinion of it is, I don't know. I think it is a case of my expectations being a lot bigger than what I was given in the movie. Like I wanted the movie to be the people of Rogue One trying to find the Death Star plans and being like hunted by Vader like the whole time.
The whole time.
And he's in the movie twice and he shows up at the end, but I wanted it to be like that's like his mission is to find these people. And it could have been like, oh, they don't believe in Vader. It's like, oh, I hear he's a myth or whatever. And
until
then
it shows up.
Yeah, and then they're like, oh no, here it is. That's a big problem. And I thought that could have been more interesting than. And then again with the same thing with Solo. It was plagued with production woes. Like there's like 3 versions of the movie or something.
Yeah.
Are Chris Miller and are Phil Lord and Chris Miller also directing New Mutants? Is that why it has been in production hell for 3 years?
So which one is your 11?
It's gonna have to be Solo. It was
Okay.
11.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Rogue One and Solo are kind of on the same level, but Solo is 11, and then I'd have to put Rogue One at 10, I think.
Okay. So Shawn's skipping ahead.
Yeah.
That's okay.
I'll go before everyone there.
How about 11 for you, Aaron?
I would probably have to say Solo as well.
It's not a bad movie.
No,
though.
it's a fun movie. Like, there was the whole boycott after The Last Jedi, and people were like, I'm not going to go see this.
Yeah.
And then people tore it apart in reviews. And then I went to see it for myself, and sure, there were things that I did not really care for, like how Han Solo got his name, for one.
Yeah.
But all around, I was like, okay, this, like, Rogue One still felt like, they're like, oh, it's a Star Wars story. It is like, but it's on the same scale of Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it is, the Empire is hunting them because they stole the plans. Like, it's a whole large scale thing. Like, it feels like it's just another episode in between, whereas Solo feels much smaller in scale, and it feels more like a Star Wars story.
I think that's a benefit to it, that it was like such a small thing. It's just Han Solo living his life.
No, yeah.
Like
and
if it ended up
that
Han Solo was like, oh, I've got to save the galaxy
Yeah.
before he met anybody.
Yeah,
the movie would be fucking terrible.
and I think that's something that helped when it came to The Mandalorian. Not saying that Solo, like, give Solo credit for it, but that smaller scale storytelling in the universe kind of gave way to The Mandalorian, where I'm not saying Favreau actually learned from Solo, but like looking at it, and you're like the end battle of Rogue One takes place on Scarif, and the Death Star shows up and blows Scarif up.
Right.
The end battle of Solo takes place in
a throne, like his
in
room,
an office.
in an office room.
Yes, like, it's very small scaled, and I liked that because I'm like, the stakes are not high here.
Yeah.
They're high for Han, but they're not high for the galaxy.
Yeah.
Like, it's just him doing something.
And then we
then
get
Darth Maul shows
we
up.
get the shoehorn Darth Maul in there. Do you think they're gonna make more? I think that they could make more.
It's rumored that Darth Maul is going to have a Disney Plus series.
I feel like
I don't know if it's true or not, but
I was against the idea of a Han Solo movie when they first announced it, but
Me too.
after Solo, I would be fine with having what's his name? Ansel Elgort? Is that his
No,
name?
that's Baby Driver.
Oh, okay.
Alden Ehrenreich.
Alden Ehrenreich, yeah, they all have the same sounding name. Either way, I would be fine with him having his own, like, trilogy of Han movies.
No,
except
never.
he wouldn't ever be able to meet
See-
Darth Vader or Darth Maul because he doesn't believe in the Force in
That's
Episode 4.
right,
so-
yeah.
That's where I disagree. I don't think he should have another trilogy. I think he should have maybe a series, a mini series of some
I'd be fine with a sequel.
Han adventures. I don't need a sequel. And everyone called for make Han Solo's trilogy, make Han Solo's trilogy. At the end of the movie, you're led into everything that happens up until Episode 4, where he's like, "Oh, I heard about this crime boss. He's getting a crew together." And then Chewie says something, and he goes, "What?" And he goes, "What could go wrong?" And I'm like, "That's Jabba the Hutt. Everything is going to go wrong." Like,
Yeah.
I don't need to know what happened in order for, like, show it to me in a comic. That is a 4-issue comic run right there
Yeah.
of what happens between
So
that and
what's the time period between Solo and then A New Hope? Like, how many years is that supposed to be? Because how many?
Not very many.
maybe
I don't think.
5.
Yeah.
Oh,
maybe.
so like Han is on the run from Jabba for like 5 years?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And even though even then he's not on the run, he's just avoiding him.
Yeah. Well, that's true. He's on the run. In
Does it go
Episode
south
5.
with
Because
Jabba
Han-
immediately?
No, not immediately. It's because he dumped a spice freight when an Imperial cruiser kind of pulled him in tractor beam.
Yeah.
But The thing about
just to cut you off, I think it's funny
Yes, feel free.
that Poe is a spice runner. They just kind of like shoehorn that in. It's like I feel like they were like trying to make him the Han Solo in the new trilogy.
This is your new Han Solo.
Yeah, and then Rian Johnson is like, no, fuck that. And then J.J. Abrams is like, wait, he actually was a spice runner. And it's like, oh, get it? Because Han Solo is a spice runner, guys. Post Han Solo. Remember what I was trying to do?
Yeah.
Remember what I was trying to do?
Sorry for interrupting, but
I kind of want them to do an episode 10 and just tack it on, but it's directed by Rian Johnson. So it's literally just this tennis match between Rian Johnson and JJ.
Yeah,
with a tennis ball on that just says Q, and they're just hitting it back and forth to each other.
The beginning of Rian Johnson's episode 10 will be Rey waking up from a nightmare because episode 9 was all a dream.
She's still on the Millennium Falcon with the broken lightsaber.
Yeah, she's like, bleh! Just wakes up.
And the fish guy's still alive.
Yeah, alive again.
Oh my god. Okay.
So yeah, Solo. I'll say this: no Star Wars movie is absolutely god awful.
Yeah.
They have their own. Well, why didn't you put that at number 11?
I honestly should. I want to go back and put Attack of the Clones as number 11. Screw that movie.
Well, anyway, so to cut you both off, speaking of Attack of the Clones, that's my number 11.
Yeah, that movie's bad.
I actually, that was my original pick.
Everybody, defends it with the whole, oh my god, planets.
Geonosis?
Yes. The whole Geonosis thing where, like, all the Jedi come in and they mess stuff up. But, like, I just can't watch the rest of it. I don't care.
Yeah, the only good thing about that movie is you learn about the clones, which is important for the next movie.
Actually, yeah, let me take that back. The Obi-Wan detective thing.
That's the only good part.
That's
about the
like
movie,
the only good
opinion.
thing.
It's better than Blade Runner.
Yeah,
First Blade Runner.
Obi-Wan's detective stuff is the only engaging stuff about that movie. Ewan McGregor in general, just in the prequels, is the only engaging thing in general.
He and Ian McDiarmid are the shining two casts of that franchise.
I mean, everybody gives crap to Hayden Christensen, but, like, I don't think he's... We'll get into it more, but I don't think he's that bad in 3. Not as bad as he is in 2.
I don't think that it's Hayden Christensen's fault. I think it's George Lucas's fault.
Yeah, it's not.
No, and actually, it's kind of funny because nobody said it, but Harrison said it to George during filming A New Hope, and somebody like Hayden should have said it to George. Harrison looked at George when they were rehearsing their dialogue one time, and he said, "George, you can write this shit, but you can't say it." And that's entirely true. His dialogue was garbage. Yeah. And actually, they gave... I heard that they gave Alec Guinness an extra 0.5% pay because he was getting 2.5% because he was a top bill for A New Hope. They gave him an extra 0.5% because after he read the script, he said to George, he goes, "I like this." He said, "But I think we need to work on the dialogue." He said, because it's really nothing that you can, like, salvage. So he helped, like, rewrite the dialogue, and they gave him an extra half percentage to his pay.
That makes him so much cooler.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he completely, like, shunned his life after Star Wars because he was a prolific actor before that, but all anybody wanted to talk to him about was Star Wars, and he's like, I did other stuff.
Oh, man. I was Marcus Aurelius.
Yeah, it's kind of sad, actually, but...
It is, but at the same time, like... I don't know if it's going to be the same for... Well, no, because they were kind of unknowns in this new trilogy before they got Star Wars, and since then it's kind of springboarded them into their own careers, especially Adam Driver, who gets cast fantastic. Like in everything.
Yeah.
And he is across the board.
Daisy's done other stuff, but, like, it's nothing to even rival.
I think that
Adam Driver.
The Adam Driver and Oscar Isaac are the two that have really benefited from their Well, I mean, they
And
got
Oscar
the
was
reason
big before.
Yeah, they got the
Oscar was. Yeah.
they got the roles for a reason. But there's nothing like Star Wars fame that can really just launch you into the zeitgeist.
That's what I mean. Like they're gonna like hell. Look at Millie Bobby Brown, in Stranger Things.
Yeah.
She started that off when she was like 10 or whatever, and then her first feature film was Godzilla King of the Monsters.
Yeah.
Like that's a huge jump from being in a Netflix series to that being your first feature film.
Yeah. So, Shawn, you already gave your 10 then with Rogue One. Then?
Yeah. That's gonna have to be my. Actually, no. My 10 will be Attack the Clones.
Okay.
I won't renege my Solo being 11. Although I'll do some self introspection and decide that it probably should be 11 Attack of the Clones, but I'll put 10 as Attack of the Clones.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with that too for my number 10, Attack of the Clones, because it is awful. Not god awful, like I said. None of the Star Wars movies are god awful, but Attack of the Clones, if there is a level of god awful, it is just above it.
It's just so boring.
It is.
The whole movie's just so boring.
In fact, like even watching it as a kid, I could not like interest myself with like, oh, all right, I'll tell you the best thing that ever happened on Camino, being a map in Battlefront 2.
That's right.
That's it.
Yep.
Like there was nothing about Camino that was cool. Sure, the fight between Obi-Wan and Jango was neat.
But that could have happened anywhere.
Yeah, and even the battles, like you think there's a lot of conflict that goes on in episode 2, but none of it is engaging enough to keep your attention.
Yeah.
So, like, going through the asteroid field, while that's a cool scene, like, everything happens so slow that you're just like, come on.
Yeah.
Like, speed it up. Like, when he releases those charges that do, like, the guitar chord thing. And like, blast apart the asteroids. I'm like, that's cool. But it's not happening fast enough or engaging enough. And I blame
like that scene.
It's a good scene, but I blame a lot of the prequel trilogy, except for 3, and I'll make my point about 3 when we get to it. But everything that happens in the Star Wars prequels just happens so slow that you don't care, and it's part of the way George shot things. Because while he had a cinematographer, he kind of like took them and he's like, nah, set it up more like this. And they did it, and all the scenes are so static, just like it's people walking into a room and then walking into another room. There's no like cool shots that happen that are supposed to like grab my attention and keep me there.
There's a lot of walking scenes.
Yes. But like even the action scenes, you're like, this is like Attack of the Clones. I will say this has one really cool sequence at the end when Anakin is fighting Dooku, and he loses the green lightsaber, and they cut the cord to the overhead lights. And the only thing lighting the scene is their sabers. And that's kind of a neat, like the sabers come up and you get a quick flash of their face.
Yeah.
And they're fighting. That's a neat display. But other than that, I mean, like, Attack of the Clones was simply George going, remember Boba Fett? This is his dad. Remember clones? Remember stormtroopers? Well, these are the clones that come from the stormtroopers. Remember the Clone Wars that I mentioned in episode 4? It's about to start. Like, that's it. That's all it introduced.
It's a real shame because like the Clone Wars era is such a intriguing thing, and then the series delves into it, you know, very well.
Yeah,
and it's a good series, but like
it's
there's so much potential with like the Attack of the Clones, like the Clone Wars, and then I guess it's like really showcased better in episode 3. But Attack of the Clones is just so goddamn boring.
No, yeah, like Attack of the Clones is a boring movie.
Yeah.
It's a good detective movie, but it is filler.
Yeah.
It's simply filler. It doesn't have enough oomph to make it like a on par trilogy second act. It just really doesn't.
So, moving on from bashing episode 2, which I knew was coming. My number 10, and we don't have to say anything more, it's Solo. I've only seen, like I told you guys before we started, I've only watched it once. And that wasn't even in theaters. It was when I bought it. So, yeah. So, yeah, number 10, Solo.
Okay, so number 9, I'll definitively say Rogue One then. Yeah, not as big a fan as the movie as everybody else is.
Wow.
Like I was really on board whenever it first came out, and I remember saying, I was like, that might just be the best Star Wars movie I've ever seen. And then like upon thinking about it, I was like, wow. I mean, it's really just, it's a great looking movie and everything, but there's just no substance to it.
Now, do you rank Paul Blart 2 above Rogue One?
Paul Blart 2 is my favorite Star Wars movie.
Paul Blart, A Star Wars Story.
Yeah. I hope that Kathleen Kennedy hears this podcast and casts Kevin James in Paul Blart, A Star Wars Story. And it's his journey of becoming a Jedi, and then he has to go protect the library or something. He's a Jedi.
On a hovering Segway.
Yeah, he's a Jedi guard that protects. Instead of a speeder bike, it's a speeder Segway, where he's just like hovering over it.
I want a scene where they cut his Jedi braid as a youngling, but like then it flash forwards to like a couple years later when he's a like official Jedi Knight, like on his first like mission. But instead of him having a beard like all the Jedi Knights grow, it's just a mustache.
Just the mustache. It's an intimidation factor.
Wow.
But yeah, Rogue One for number 9.
Aaron, you're number 9.
That's rough.
Good luck following that.
I'm still putting Phantom Menace at number 9.
Yeah.
Just because, like, and that was my...
Before we even start, I'll just say that it's my number 9 as well.
Yeah. Like, Phantom Menace is the one, like, before I saw Phantom Menace, I watched 4, 5, and 6.
Mm-hmm. I did too as a kid.
Yeah, and I loved those movies, and then I saw this one. And as a kid, I loved Phantom Menace. I was like, oh, it's great, and saw it probably like 5 times. My dad probably took me to see it like 5 times.
Yeah.
Love the movie. Going back and watching it, it's boring.
It's got...
It has
think,
some really good scenes in it.
Yeah, much better scenes than say, Attack of the Clones.
It is boring, but I don't think it is as boring as Attack of the Clones.
No.
And there are more engaging scenes in Phantom Menace than there are in Attack of the Clones.
And honestly, there are better characters. Like, I'm not gonna say that Liam Neeson gave the performance of his life, but Qui-Gon Jinn is still one of my favorite Jedi.
Yeah, mine too.
And he gives a more convincing performance than Hayden Christensen as Anakin Skywalker, who is supposed to be our main character through that trilogy. Whereas I like Qui-Gon Jinn in Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
But and then you have the Darth Maul fight. That's one of the really cool things that happened in that movie.
That might be the best
That might be
scene
the
of the
best
prequels.
Duel.
Yeah.
In the prequels.
Even in Star Wars
prequels?
in general, actually.
Huh? Yes.
You can't... The Duel of the Fates is, like, so much better, though.
That's what I said.
Oh, I thought
That's the scene we were talking about.
Yeah, I'm talking about Phantom Menace.
No,
Duel
well,
of the
I
Fates.
mean, like, Obi-Wan fighting Anakin on Mustafar is so much better than Darth
No,
Maul.
and I'll explain that when we get to 3. After doing my rewatch, I used to love the battle between Anakin and Obi-Wan, but after watching that against Duel of the Fates, as choreographed as you can say that the lightsaber fights are in the prequels, Duel of the Fates is nowhere near as choreographed as Battle of the Heroes. Nowhere near. Because, think about it this way. In Duel of the Fates, they fight and they literally jump across onto a thing and go back a corridor. What happens in the Battle of the Heroes? They fight on the platform, then they go into the control room, then they go across a high wire thing, then they swing on ropes and hit each other, then they go on the hovering platform. I was like, this is so like drawn out.
Yeah, it is unnecessarily flashy, I'll admit that, but the emotion behind that fight is... There's no substance to the Darth Maul versus Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon Jinn fight. They're fighting him because he's an enemy Sith. That's the only reason they're fighting him. There is, like, Obi-Wan relationship with Anakin and like everything, his entire like upbringing is on the line with the fight in Episode 3. It's just so much better.
I'm about to really piss you off. There was more emotion in the fight between Kylo Ren and Rey on the Death Star than there was between Anakin and Obi-Wan.
Well, I just simply don't agree.
We'll agree to disagree. That's fine.
I must say I don't agree either. I mean,
I'm not saying it's not a cool duel. It's a very cool duel. But when you look at it as an emotional duel, it's too choreographed for me to go, these guys are really trying to kill each other, because they're not.
I agree with what Shawn said.
I don't think
it's
that
too
Obi-Wan
flashy.
is trying to kill Anakin.
Yeah, he probably doesn't want to.
Yeah.
I don't think.
He's not, but Anakin also doesn't want to. Like, it's just a game of, I'm not going to kill you, and he's like, well, I'm not going to kill you, and then they're just like fighting like that the whole time.
Yeah. So I don't know. I guess we'll cross that road some more when we get there.
Anyway,
We'll get to it.
my 8 would then be the Phantom Menace. So
Okay.
I'm following you. Well,
Yeah.
my step up would be the Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
You put Rogue One below the Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
I don't know if we can be friends anymore.
In My Hero Academia, one of the characters, his ability is he can like he goes transparent. He like goes through walls and things. And his special move is called the Phantom Menace.
That's cool.
So Shawn put it above Rogue One because of the name.
Yeah,
It reminds us of...
it's so much better. It reminds me of something that's actually good.
Oh my god. So Aaron, how about your number 8?
Oh.
Mine's gonna shock some people.
My number 8 would probably be The Rise of Skywalker.
Number 8?
Yeah. And I hate... No, I don't. I don't hate to put it where it belongs. Because it's a good movie. And hey, I'm putting it above Attack of the Clones and Phantom Menace and Solo. So I mean, it's not low, it's mid-tier, but it's so fast and everything is just so thrown together.
We could talk for hours
about this
the
movie,
problems with The Rise of Skywalker.
We did it at the bar.
Yeah.
So
but I came to one conclusion, and one of the reasons why I put it there is I blurted it out. And I had like a moment of realization after I blurted it out. I was like, oh my god, like that's right. I don't care about Rey. I don't care about her. She gives me absolutely no reason to give a shit about her existence.
I did in the first two. I agree with you after the...
I did in the first one. Second one about midway through, I was like, I don't care. Like, I cared more about Luke in the second one than I did about Rey. And in the third one, I just didn't care. And I think it was just because of the way that it was written that you couldn't... You had trouble following it.
Yeah.
And while I enjoy the movie and do I think it's a good ending? Sure.
I don't.
I
don't.
It's alright.
I said sure. I didn't say absolutely. I was fine with it. But I rank it low because it just didn't hit for me. I didn't walk out of the theater going, wow, I love Star Wars again. I was like, wow, that was underwhelming.
Yeah. So my previous statement, I guess, has no merit because mine is also The Rise of Skywalker at number 8. So
yeah, that would be ranking mine as 7. Middle of the pack with my exception of Rogue One.
It's your weird thought on Rogue One that's thrown you off.
Yeah, I mean, we would be completely agreed if it wasn't for that outlier, but...
Yeah.
But, yeah, Rise of Skywalker is just... It's a fine movie. It has some really good scenes in it.
Yeah.
It's very emotional at points, but it just doesn't hit home.
Like, I like a lot of the Palpatine stuff in it.
I did
some
too.
of the mostly the imagery, like the beginning of the movie where It like
the lightning and everything.
lightning
that
and
was
stuff.
really cool.
Yeah.
Those were very good. Like, it looks great.
Mhm.
Movie looks great. A lot of the story is still good. It needs fleshed out.
Yeah.
I think that it is a good movie on merits of the way that it looks, the way that it is acted, everything. The thing that is holding it back is its abysmal story. Because it is just, it's so scattershotted, and I could go on and on, but I have significant problems with the story.
Yeah.
So that's my main reasoning. I like every other aspect about it with that exception.
But yeah, I don't care about Rey. And in this movie, I did not at one point did Rey come on the screen and I was like, boy, I hope nothing happens to her. I was like, I don't give a shit if you die right now. Like, if Kylo Ren carries the rest of this movie, I'm fine.
I've always wanted, since the ending of The Force Awakens, I wanted Rey to become the main villain of the trilogy.
Yeah.
Have her turn to the dark side, which I think is, compelling in itself and also not too far-fetched considering her upbringing. But they just didn't have the guts to do that.
Unkar Plot taught her in the dark side?
Well, it doesn't have to be that. She's clearly, she was raised and she has, she was abandoned and everything. But I think
she has a lot of pent up aggression.
I think that turning to the dark side is a very, very possible and makes sense to me. Yeah. But they didn't do it. So
show me a comic where Rey is on Jakku and learns to use the Force, but then forgets it and locks it out, and she Force chokes out Unkar Plot, and then she realizes I can never do this again.
Did she knew she was Force sensitive?
No.
In The Force Awakens?
No.
Was her first use of, I can't remember. Was the first use of the Force?
Jedi mind
trick. The Jedi mind trick.
After she touched the saber. That was on
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
She didn't get any of that until she touched the saber.
Yeah, I remember now. Yeah, for some reason that was completely blocked. A story for another time.
Yeah, we never got that story.
Nope, no, I never will.
Yeah.
Anyway, Aaron, your number 7 then?
My number 7 would have to be... Shit, where are we at?
Probably sequel trilogy at this point.
No. I'll go Revenge of the Sith.
Alright.
Revenge of the Sith. And Revenge of the Sith has a lot of redeeming qualities. It is the best in the prequel trilogy.
Yeah.
By far. In the entire saga, it has the best opening scene of any of the movies.
Yeah.
It's
hands
fantastic.
down, the one continuous shot of the fighters going through the space battle is amazing.
Yeah.
I will never diss the opening of that movie. And that movie learned from 1 and 2 to get right into the action and don't stop.
Yeah.
And they did. They went in, they saved the Chancellor, all that stuff.
Do it.
Yeah. But again, the reason why I am putting it at number 7 is because it's a prequel. It is still very clunky at points. McClunky.
It's very McClunky.
Still very McClunky at points.
Yeah.
It's
tone deaf.
It is very tone deaf. It may have one of the best soundtracks in the entire franchise, though, too.
Mm-hmm.
There are so many memorable tracks. The Betrayal of the Jedi, Anakin's Dark Deeds, Battle of the Heroes. Even the opening has an amazing score.
That sound that thing that Obi-Wan rides.
Boga, which is actually is a coyote.
I knew that.
That's been distorted, yeah. Yeah, and I love that thing. I love that lizard. Boga was its name, I think. But, you go to a lot of very interesting planets. But and
that's, you get to explore the Clone Wars.
Yes, the Clone Wars are showcased because it takes place 3 years into the Clone Wars. So everything is, but I think one of the coolest things is the war had been brought to Coruscant. The main battle takes place over Coruscant, and you're like, oh shit, the Separatists are here.
Yeah.
It's not being fought on the Outer Rim on some BFE planet. it's right at home. It's right where they could destroy and take over if they lose Coruscant.
They made Space 9/11.
Essentially.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, it's a lot of fun. Like, up until they crash land the ship, and then the story starts to go slow again. Like,
Another happy landing.
Another happy landing.
But I mean, it's pretty good. You have General Grievous, who's one of my favorite villains of the prequel series.
I think he is my favorite of the prequels.
He's very interesting because he doesn't have... He's not Force sensitive, correct?
No, he was trained swordsmanship from Count Dooku,
Yes.
but other than that...
Yeah, because he's 90% droid.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, you have Grievous, which is great. You have a lot of the duels are a lot of fun. The Count Dooku and Obi-Wan and Anakin duel at the very beginning is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Christopher Lee, even though he's only in it for like 2 seconds, is a shining role in that movie. But you still have a lot of the... Hell, Shawn, I'll even go back to this. I think that the Emperor and Yoda's fight is more emotional than Obi-Wan and Anakin.
Wow.
I
You're
just
blinded.
can't. Then you are lost.
You are lost.
Then you are lost.
But I just can't. Like, even watching it again, it's a great battle. Don't get me wrong. It's a great battle. It just does not have the emotion behind it for me. Like, after rewatching it just doesn't have the emotion for me to buy into it.
See, I get that there is a group of people that think that, you know, you were supposed to be the chosen one, like it's a meme or whatever. But like every time he says it, I'm like I just want to break down. I'm like, yeah, you were supposed to be the chosen.
No,
one.
that's the emotion. It should have been there in the duel. like that's what I mean.
So that's outside the duel. You're just talking about the duel
The
itself.
duel itself. Okay. And you and I watched that video on how to fix the prequels from like Reddit. Like when Force Awakens came out, you and I watched that video, and they talk about the duel being much more engaging, and actually them taking like huge blows at each other and like parrying them.
I think that
instead
the
of
main problem is that it's like we said earlier, it's flashy. They're going all over the place. If they just dueled in a crater in Mustafar, you would feel it a lot more. Like it would just be like, it would be them and not all the obstacles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care about the obstacles. Don't show me. I've seen Mustafar. You showed it to me when Anakin went there to kill the Separatists. I don't need to see them dueling on it. And the other thing, like, yes, just have them duel like that. Hell, Empire did it very well, and they moved from place to place through obstacles. But Vader and Luke's fight was very emotional, especially towards the end, where Vader was like, I'm done pissing around with you, and just was actually trying to murder Luke at that point.
He was almost toying with him most of the time.
He toyed with him like the first 2 fights that they did, because then he used the Force and like hit him with stuff. But then the second time, or the third time, when Luke's walking through the corridor, Vader comes out from behind the corridor and like slices the walls and everything, and then like cuts railing. And then when Luke hits him in the shoulder, if Luke hadn't ducked, Vader would have killed him, because he just went like this and cut that whole like smokestack or pipe thing off, and then cut his hand off.
I always thought it was an antenna. I don't know.
Whatever it was.
I don't know what it was.
Something in that pit. But like that's the emotion I wanted to see in that fight. Is like have Anakin slice at Obi-Wan and he ducks and he just like destroys an entire control panel or something like that. Like, because you want Anakin to have fully embraced his dark side and try to fight Obi-Wan, but instead you get 2 very evenly matched people who are just like toying with each other, like, oh, you're just gonna parry everything I do, aren't you? And it's like, yep, I am. And it's like, well, I'll cut your arms off here in a minute. like it just seems like if the music wasn't so prevalent, I'd feel like he would be like fighting him, and Obi-Wan would be like, so did you really have to choke out Padme? And he's like, no, I don't know. It just seemed like something to do in the moment. And like, he's like, I get that. All right. Like, I feel like they could have just carried on a conversation the entire time, because there was really no emotion driving that. It's a good battle. I'm not saying it's not a good battle. It just lacks the emotion it should have had, and that's a climactic point for the entire series, is Obi-Wan killing Vader, and we got that. And that's why I rank Revenge of the Sith lower than I would anything else.
Well, I personally don't agree.
With
the ranking, at least.
Oh.
Not so much with your thoughts.
What are we, 7?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got my 7 coming up right now, which, okay, so 7 sounds low, but this is where, my favorite movies start.
Right.
So, with it being 7, it sounds low, but I got Rogue One.
No, Rogue One was my 6th, so...
Okay.
My 6 will be... I have to...
Don't you do it.
I'm
Empire!
I'm trying to decide if I like Revenge of the Sith better than The Force Awakens. But
I mean, that's a no contest for...
I'll just go with Revenge of the Sith for number 6, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we talked about Rogue One, so I don't need to talk about that. But
And then we just had a very long-winded
discussion for episode 3.
For episode 3, so that will be my 6.
So, and then you said Rogue One, so we're on to my 6. My 6 is actually The Last Jedi.
Understandable. Have a nice day.
I mean, film is subjective, first of all, but I do not understand why people hated this movie. I just, at the very least, think it's a good movie.
No, I enjoy it very much.
Yeah, it I didn't rank it the way, but I think it's actually, which contradicts my ranking, but at times I like it more than Force Awakens even. But just making this list, that's how I felt in the moment. But, so yeah, that and The Force Awakens can be interchangeable.
Yeah. 5 will be The Force Awakens for me then.
5 would probably be The Last Jedi. Yeah. No,
yeah.
And like you said, it's interchangeable, but
Yeah.
I'll explain why Force Awakens is higher.
Well, let's just go into Force Awakens, because it's my
Force
number 5.
Awakens is my number 4 anyway.
Yeah.
So
yeah, my number 5. We're getting kind of screwed up. I'm not sure
So-
where we are.
So I do like The Last Jedi a lot. After watching it again recently, I really enjoyed it.
I think that all 3 of us have Force Awakens and The Last Jedi at either 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Mine is
It's just- yeah.
mine is The Last Jedi at 4, and your guys is
We
Force
just have
Awakens
flip-flopped.
instead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the only reasons that I put Force Awakens ahead of The Last Jedi is because I'll never forget that feeling of watching The Force Awakens opening night.
You're taking the words out of my mouth, because that's what I was going to say.
There was almost a, not to sound corny, but there was almost a magic about watching The Force Awakens after an absence of 10 years of Star Wars movies, and sitting there watching the crawl, hearing the fanfare, experiencing it all over again.
That's my only Star Wars experience where people literally clapped at stuff.
Yeah.
And my favorite moment was when Rey and Finn were running, and Finn's like, hey, how about we take this one? No, that one's garbage. And they keep running, the other one blows up. Garbage will do. And
Run off to the Millennium
Falcon. Then it shows the Millennium Falcon. And everybody at the same time was like, oh. like they just called it garbage, but hey, it's the Millennium Falcon. So it's just moments like that
yeah, there was something about watching it the first time that still, to this day, with all the other Star Wars movies that have come out, is unrivaled in my opinion. And like I said, I rank Force Awakens just because it may just be nostalgia. It may just be because of the way I felt.
The experience of it.
Yes. And the biggest complaint that I've ever heard, and somebody said it the other day, they're like, Force Awakens is just a rehash. And I'm like, yes, it was, but it needed to be.
Yeah.
You're
introducing... needed to make everybody feel good.
You're introducing a new generation to Star Wars after an absence of 10 years.
Yeah.
You have to make it a rehash, or else you don't... You're going to miss, like the Phantom Menace.
And at the time, I mean, the prequels were even looked at as even worse than they are now in the fan world.
Yeah.
So, like, they really had to get everybody on board and
had to do something that would be...
Yeah, make everybody, like I said, make everybody feel good. You know, have a good experience.
And they did that.
And nothing works better than nostalgia. As much as people want to bash on nostalgia, it works.
And like I said, I don't hate The Last Jedi. I think out of this trilogy, The Last Jedi may be the best looking out of all of them. I like Rian Johnson's cinematic,
style.
Yeah. I mean, it looks fantastic.
From a movie from start to finish, it is my favorite out of the sequel trilogy. But it's experiences of Force Awakens that makes it a little bit higher. But yeah.
Yeah, do I think The Last Jedi is better from a story? Sure. But it's the experience of The Force Awakens, which is why I'm ranking it higher.
Yeah.
It's because I didn't leave the theater for either of these last two movies going, wow. But I did when I left Force Awakens.
Yeah. So
and the only reason The Last Jedi that I walked out of that going, was Leia.
Yeah,
Because I was like, I don't know how I feel about that.
I understand everybody's problem with that scene. But the way I look at it is, okay, at the time we didn't know how force sensitive, if any, she is. But you also got to think, I mean, I don't know how she'd survive the vacuum of space in general. But people are like, how'd she use the force to bring herself in? It's space. There's no
weightless.
Gravity.
Yeah,
it's weightless. Like, it would take a minimal amount of force ability to pull yourself in.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, that's always been my defense of that scene. Not that I'm saying it's not awkward to see. It still is actually very awkward to
It's
watch.
a bit jarring.
But other than that, I really enjoyed The Last Jedi.
Yes, agreed.
I don't remember where we were.
I think 3 now.
Yes.
I'll start with 3.
No, I've not said my 4 yet.
Haven't you?
No. Because this is where people get mad at me. So I guess my 4 I'll go into is Return of the Jedi.
No, I can't really get mad at you for that.
It's a fantastic movie, obviously. It's probably something to do with the fact that, you know, I was the prime age around the prequel trilogy. And since we talked about it, I'm just going to go out and say 3 is Revenge of the Sith for me. I have such a nostalgic look on that movie. Because I skipped Attack of the Clones. Didn't see it in theaters. Honestly, didn't watch it until I'd watched Episode 3, actually. It wasn't until I owned them all on DVD.
And then you were just thoroughly disappointed.
Yeah, I was like, what is this garbage? Again, not that any Star Wars movie is unbearable, but yeah, it's not good. But anyway, yeah, so there's a ton of people that would probably think that I'm crazy for putting Return of the Jedi before Revenge of the Sith, but I don't even know what to say is my least favorite part of that. Just, I don't know, too happy maybe?
Just say it, Ewoks.
No, I don't even mind the Ewoks. I don't even mind them. They're murderous bears, so.
Viet Cong.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't
Viet Cong.
I don't have too much, I guess, to say about. We already talked about Revenge of the Sith, and I'm sure you guys will go into more on Return of the Jedi.
This is number 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be you guys'
Okay.
3. I'll start then. 3, I'll just say A New Hope.
Okay, if I think where we're going, mine is the same as yours in the last top 3.
Yeah, I think we might be going somewhere else.
Oh, whoa!
Uh-oh.
If you're putting that one ahead, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, New Hope.
Yeah, I mean,
I agree.
they're all, the final 3 are so close together that it's almost hard to rank them.
Absolutely. We all knew they were going to be basically top 3, except for me because I'm weird.
It's just it's so hard to decide. I don't know. I'll get more into it whenever I get to my top my top.
Well,
one.
I mean, just go because mine is A New Hope too, as my third.
Okay.
So
well, my third is Revenge of the Sith. So
okay. So my second is going to be Empire.
No.
uh-oh.
No. How do you know?
And
I gotta hear these reasons, really.
Obviously, my number 1 is going to be Return of the Jedi.
No, I like Return of the Jedi, but I'm curious why you were ranking it higher than Empire.
I don't know.
Let's just throw out all of the rest of our list, and we can just discuss the original trilogy altogether. So obviously yours is Return and then
Empire.
Empire. Yeah. Mine is A New Hope and then Empire. So.
Because we're right. Because we're right.
I'm going to defend myself here, saying the first time I saw Return of the Jedi, I was a little kid, and I liked the Ewoks and the Battle of Endor.
I'm not gonna bash you for that.
It is. I don't know. It has a special place in my heart for that reason, and I think that the final battle between Vader and Luke, and the Emperor antagonizing them, I think that's really compelling. And I liked how the final climax of the film is 3 battles taking place all at one time. I thought that was really engaging, and I really enjoy that.
Yeah.
And Jabba's palace, obviously, it's a great start to the movie. I think that it's all great. Everybody gives it crap just because of the second Death Star thing, and I'll admit the second Death Star is lame. If it was a different reason, a different threat, then I think it would be even better. But that's really my only problem with it is just and Yoda just dying. That's lame. Luke going back to Dagobah and Yoda dying. That's pretty lame.
What about a fleet of Death Stars?
Ooh, what about a planet killer?
So Shawn, Mike, you'll agree with me on this. You named your lame points about, Return of the Jedi. You know what doesn't have any lame points? Empire.
Honestly, I know I'm gonna get crap for this, but
you are.
I find whenever they get to Cloud City, it is a little boring for me.
I love Cloud City.
Whenever they land,
I don't like
Lando
very much, to be honest with you.
I do. I like Lando.
I just find, I don't know, it's just boring to me.
I just like the fact that I don't even know. I'm sure other movies have done it. I don't watch a ton of movies, but just the fact that they put this movie out there and it does not end on any sort of happy note.
I think that's really great. I think
that's why it has to be number one.
That's
for me,
why
for Empire, because the good guys lose.
Yeah,
that was the first time.
It's so out of form.
That was one of the first times in cinematic history that they were no happy ending.
I think that's one reason that the Revenge of the Sith is good, because it's basically just Empire except to the trilogy. Yeah, it's the bad guys lost or the good guys lost this time.
If and only Rise of Skywalker had been that.
Yeah. Yeah,
it could have been that with Rey turning dark, killing Ben.
Yeah.
Instead of saving them,
we could have had all kinds of There's a lot of things that I think would have made that movie better. Yeah. But right now,
I'm not exactly here for that.
Yeah, we're talking about the originals.
Let's get out the laundry list.
I don't know. That's my main reasons. I like Hoth a lot. And, I really enjoy that scene. And Dagobah, Luke training with Yoda. But something about just Bespin is just I don't know. It draws me out. I just don't feel it.
I think personally why Return of the Jedi is number 4 for me. Not that number 4 is a bad spot. Again, my favorite movies are toward, basically after number 7 on the list. But Return of the Jedi, as a kid, like I owned that the VHSs later in my kid years, I guess. But I only had A New Hope and or Empire Strikes Back. My uncle let me borrow those two. Like, he didn't have the third one for some reason. But so I watched those more. So I guess that's why I like them more. I don't dislike really anything in Return, but yeah.
Empire, for me, first off, Empire looks like it was filmed yesterday.
That's true.
It's one of the best looking Star Wars movies from, like, as far back as it was shot. It was 1980, but the movie literally looks like it was shot like 1997 maybe. Like, it looks good. It looks really good for its time. And
it even look better than Return.
Yes, it did.
Like, I don't know why.
But Empire has not... And here's... Rian Johnson didn't do it on purpose, but he basically remade Empire with The Last Jedi. But the thing that worked for Empire was there was still a lot going on conflict-wise within the side stories. So the entire time after they leave Hoth, Han and Leia and Chewie are being pursued by the Empire through the asteroid field. And not just the Empire, Vader's Super Star Destroyer and a fleet of Star Destroyers.
Mm-hmm.
Luke is training on Dagobah and learning from Yoda. And that whole... Everything there is very compelling. The vision in the cave. Everything's great. And then the movie slowly builds up to the conflict with Vader at the end. And then you finally get to see Luke square off with Vader. And then it ends terribly for Luke because you're thinking...
Because he didn't listen to Yoda.
Yeah, he's going to maybe defeat Vader. And then he doesn't. And you're like, oh no! You're like, what's going to happen? And then at the end of the movie, it's all hope is like seemingly lost. Because they're like, well, we're going to go try and track down Han. Yeah. Luke, you figure out how to use your robot hand in the meantime. And then you fast forward into Return of the Jedi and everything is like starting to go better. But at that moment, you're like, I can remember watching it as a kid going, what? Like, they lost?
Yeah.
And I'm going, well, all right. I got to watch the next one now.
If there was ever a time that somebody was like, hey, we invented this thing, like, you can forget whatever you want. I'd honestly forget the whole Star Wars saga and just rewatch them.
It's kind of like Infinity War, how they lose at the end.
And that's why Infinity War is such a good movie, is because the bad guy wins.
Yeah.
And that's one reason I liked it, is because when Thor puts the axe in Thanos, and I was like, are you kidding me? I was like, they kill off Thanos in the movie that he shows up in. And then he does the snap, and I was like, yes! It's like, that's what I wanted.
Yeah.
Well, that's
our Star Wars ranking.
Definitely some of us were right.
Yeah. Feel free to tear us all apart because
feel free to tear Shawn apart.
Well, yeah. No one's tearing me and Mike apart.
I don't know.
We rank Empire at number 1.
They'll tear me apart for Revenge of the Sith being number 3 on mine.
I know I have some sympathizers.
Well, yeah, my dad. He's your sympathizer because he likes Return of the Jedi more than Empire. My dad would actually rank it the same as yours, Shawn. He would go Return, Empire, and A New Hope. Which I don't know why we rank A New Hope so low. Like, in that trilogy.
Like I
because
said,
it is the more boring of the trilogy.
It is. But it was just world building at that point.
They're all essentially...
And that's why I appreciate it and put it number 2.
They're all essentially on the same level anyway. It's just, slight differences that you like more. But
yeah.
But I think that was pretty good, successful.
First episode for you guys. Return of me, not the Jedi though.
No, not the Jedi, not this time.
But Thanks for everybody, listening to this episode. We went like an hour and a half, rough estimate. And so hope you guys enjoy it. Thanks again. See you next time.
Later, everyone.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Bye-bye.